Are we building capable young people, or are we just patch collecting? It's a great question, but advancement was never meant to be the destination. Hey, ScouterStan, let's talk about this. A lot of scouts act like a scavenge hunt. They just going and going and going and doing the requirements and da 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 da. Are they learning? Are they leading? Is it possible that we miss something? That's something we have to ask as adult leaders. Is it a constant flow of requirements getting done? That's not what advancement is really meant to do. It's not, like I said, it's not like a destination. It's something that results from core values. Are we producing capable young people to lead activities in your unit? Are we building that character above and beyond all those requirements? It doesn't need to be a constant hunt for fulfilling requirements. Advancement is a big part of scouting, but it should be additional to what we do in scouting. Advancement is a way of measuring completing a task, but the experience should be growth driven. A balance of these two things is critical. Now, what is advancement supposed to do? This is a big thing with a lot of scout leaders and in scouts too. They see a list of things to do and it's basically going through them, but it's learning, that process of learning how to do them. That's the real aim. There's aims of scouting, and advancement is one of the big ones. And we use those requirements to give experiences to young people that they will not get anywhere else. That's the thing. The core values become more real. All the words in the Scout Oath and Scout Law, they actually become real. Whether it's Cub Scouts, a troop, a crew, doesn't matter. They all become real through requirements in advancement. A lot of the advancement work really well with an outdoor kind of agenda. When you're dealing with scouts, a big part of that is going outside, going on campouts, going on hikes, going on canoe trips, doing things outdoors. Those requirements mean more when they're done on those adventures. That's the one thing that scouting can kind of use to make even that even more tangible, more real, core values. We have experiences that you will not get anywhere else. Nowhere else. Not any school, not any specialty club or any of that stuff. Scouting provides those opportunities to really do advancements that can be life-changing and life-saving. So these are important advancement skills. Units should really work hard at not being a merit badge mill, a rank mill, an eagle mill where they're made, and everybody that joins becomes an eagle. That's not the point, okay? That is not really good for a unit to think in that way. Can be detrimental because not every scout is able, okay? They may have other interests. That's something that the scout unit has to deal with. That's not part of that eagle mill, okay? Yes, a lot of units have the capabilities. They have the adult leadership that's there, that's able to help the scout achieve. Whether it's eagle or life or whatever rank they're going for, that's something that is there. but it shouldn't be the core issues with a unit. A unit shouldn't just be about advancement. Eagle Scout is a huge commitment, and it's important that Eagles, Scouts that become Eagle and achieve that rank, understand that once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout, is a critical commitment from young people. So if you'd like, I have a video, it's right up there. Definitely check that out. It's about once an Eagle Scout, always an Eagle Scout. Now in advancement, there might be things like knot tying. These are Scout skills, tools in the scouting toolbox. These skills need to be kind of done and perfected. They need to be able to do them without really thinking about the square knot. Maybe need to practice a little, but being able to do a square knot when they're an Eagle Scout, it's very important. Mainly because once you're an Eagle Scout and you don't know how to tie a knot, there's a problem. So practice, and then when you get done, make sure you know how to do them and practice again. Okay? Just letting you know. Now that's, regardless, it is important to understand that adults will push an agenda, okay? And that's one of the things that we have to be careful with. More than a scout will. So it's important that we think of advancement as skills in a toolbox. Think of it as that. Once they've learned that skill, they're not retested, but their peers, believe me, their peers and every adult will make sure that they know those things, so that if it comes up, they can fulfill that advancement, the purpose of that advancement, towards helping others, towards saving a life, towards being able to wrap things around or rescue somebody with a knot. These are things that Scout skills out of that toolbox are critical, and we have to make sure that that's not our only focus. Now, some troops wait to do merit badges for summer camp. No, they should be doing it year-round. Merit badges are a big part of a troop, doing those skills. In a den, if you're trying to advance, you need to make sure that you're doing all the things that are needed within the book. The nice thing about that is, it's not necessarily a big treasure hunt of different things you have to do. It is really themed towards a skill, a level. And at that point, they go through that either with the den leader or the parents, and they work together towards achieving those goals. Whereas in a troop, don't wait till summer camp to do merit badges. You could do that all the time. There's a lot of different merit badges you could do as a troop. Totally fine. There's a lot of advancements in crew, so check with your advisors. If you're in a venture crew, that's something you can do. So advancement is not the only thing, okay? We're learning from those things. We're getting skills, like I said, tools for the toolbox of scouting. Now, there are many opportunities to see what scout tools that are scouting that are learned, those skills, those scout skills, can be used in real life things. Going on a canoe trip, you need to be able to tie up the canoe. So having a good grasp of how to do the water bowline, how to put in a bowline or a taut line or any kind of knot that would be needed. These are skills that are used in those situations. If you're going on a hike, being able to know your direction on a compass, these are skills. These are things that are reinforced by actually doing activities externally. It's fine to do it in the classroom or in the meeting, but to really put it into action, you need to put it out in the field. It needs to be there. That's where that becomes important. Hey, before we go any further, I want to make sure that you know that you're personally invited to come to the campfire chat. It's a live meeting we hold on the very first Sunday of each month, starting at 9 p.m. Please join us with your questions, and we will answer those live on the show. In addition, I want to also thank all of the Patreon supporters that are helping support what we do here. Also, if you want to get directly involved with the channel, we have a membership. Hit the join button and it will give you more information about how to get involved in supporting what we do. And in that, here's a list of all the people that are continuing their support of our channel. Now, Cub Scouting versus a Scouts BSA troop, there's differences in those. Whereas Cub Scouting is leader-led, the adult leaders, the den leader, the Cub master, those people run the show. That's kind of the thing that they do. It's for their advancement. A lot of times it's parents and den leader that's actually signing off their achievements. So a lot of that has to do with an activity. They usually have an activity where, for instance, if they're very young, they might have an activity that might have to do with making a puppet or some kind of device that they could do a play with, and they write the play and then they perform the play in front of the whole pack. These are things that they do as an achievement, as things they move forward on. These are experiences they will not get anywhere else. So that's something that they could do as a Cub Scout. Now, in a troop situation, they might be asked to lead an activity. It might be a game. It might be something that their patrol might want to do. This is something that young leaders need that experience. They need that experience of working with their peers, their own youth, to work together towards a goal. It might be building a lashed tripod or something. There's many different situations where that happens. So it's a little different because youth-led, when you're dealing with a troop, versus leader-led in a pack, there's a little bit of difference there. So you have to keep that in mind. Now in Cub Scouts, you are really working on character building. That's kind of the goal. And a lot of those requirements are building the character of that Cub Scout. Whereas in a teenagers that are in a troop, you're dealing with ownership of it, taking responsibility for it, and managing it. That's really where it comes in. And youth-led. And that being the case, you always have your mentors there to help out. So it's not a big hunt for the badge, okay? It should be, in a Cub Scout unit, should be character-based. Coming up with the character, the ability to be creative, the ability to work with others. And the ability starts to come around with being able to share responsibilities. See, these are little things that come in. Those are needed when they become in a troop. When they go into a troop, they're going to be the patrol leader, okay? You want them to be able to do some leadership. Now, obviously, there's going to be some adults in there mentoring the guide, which is also a youth, and that guide is going to help out so that they are not just thrown out there to kind of put it together. That's the key. You have to have that structure there, just to keep that in mind. And it's true with all the videos I do on this channel, regardless if it's focused on adventure crew, or the explorers that are out there, all the different ones, Sea Scouts. No matter what division of scouting you're in, we're all in the same family. It's all Scouting America. So because of that, you should watch all of those videos, because they will affect you sometime. Even the den leader should watch the OA stuff, okay? He should watch the Sea Scout stuff, because they are going to be in scouting for a while and understand that. So, and that's true with the youth too. They're going with that program. That's the wonderful thing about scouting. Now, adults do struggle with letting go. Okay, it happens. A lot of Cub masters, a lot of den leaders, when they cross over, when their youth goes over to a troop, they automatically think, oh, Scoutmaster, Assistant Scoutmaster, all the scout. No, maybe you should take time off. Letting go is the hardest part. Being able to go on some campouts without having any particular role, okay, that would be great. You'd be an extra hand in leaderland, okay, not with your youth, okay. That's called helicoptering. No. That is not what you're there for. You're there to help all the scouts. A nice way to keep that straight is to always think that even your own children, when you're on a scouting event, refer to you by your last name, not mom or dad, because everybody's a mom or dad in the leadership corps. So that's one thing they need to understand. They have to refer to you when they're asking questions as last name. And the same thing is true. That respect needs to be reciprocated. So, you don't yell or hover over them. You don't demand of them any more than you would of any other scout. By the way, they're all scouts. All of them. And when you're an adult leader, you need to make that very firm definition. Now, I did do a video about the arrow of light and the crossover into a troop. So check it out. It talks a little bit about all of those things, those concepts, where they're going from a pack to a troop. It can be dramatic, okay? Because in a pack, like I've said before, it's all leader-led. And being all that responsibility and having all those things and putting together the meetings, now the youth do it. It's a huge thing, okay, to have the youth actually doing that. So check out that video. Always keep in mind that with all of this, badge hunting kind of thing going on, Eagle Scouts, and this is important, Eagle Scouts, it is the result, it's a result of the actual process. It's not the actual goal. Meaning that units that have that the goal for every single youth is unrealistic. Every youth is different. Some are in it for the adventure, and they want that adventure. They want to keep going to those different things that come up in scouting. The Eagle is just the result of all the leadership and all those things that go on. When you have that going on and they become the results of that becoming an Eagle Scout, that's different than it is if that's the goal of the unit. The unit should not be the goal. Advancement is not that destination, okay? It should be all of the stuff they do becomes an Eagle Scout, okay? That's the result that need to be looked at. Not every successful scout becomes an Eagle Scout. That's a rumor. That's a myth. Okay, it's not a rumor. It's a myth. Okay, if you're successful in scouting, it's because you did what you wanted to do and learned good leadership along the way. That's the key. As long as you can do that, that's great. If the result ends up being an Eagle, great. If not, that's okay. Okay, it's totally fine. And it's not that you failed in scouting, it's that you had a different path in scouting. In the end, it really is the trail towards achievement that's all up to the youth, not the adults, not their parents. It's heartbreaking to see parents pressuring young people towards something they don't want to do. It's heartbreaking from a youth leader. It's really hard when that happens, when you see youth leaders going on and really struggling. As a scout-facing leader, you need to step in and kind of help, just to kind of get the parents off the back of the youth, to kind of hold back a little bit, let them earn whatever it is on their own pace. That's the thing. You need to let them do that. It's critical. Now you might be asking, what can I do as far as an adult leader? Try to mentor the event, the actual activity that's going on. Try to mentor the youth towards looking at their adventure as the goal, not the achievements, not the actual rank advancement, but the actual thing that they want to do as the goal. All of that will come in line. All of those requirements might be fulfilled within going that route. For instance, you're going to be going to Philmont, one of the premier high adventure bases in scouting. You need to have everybody up to speed to get to first class. That's all a part of that experience, to have the scout skills to go to something like that. It's very important that we think of the destination and how to get there versus all the requirements that might help the achievement of said badge or patch. Actively ask yourself, what will the scouts need to do this activity at their big adventure? This kind of answers itself when it comes to the requirements of what they need to focus on. It is very difficult to focus on merit badges that have nothing to do with the big adventure. Okay, it's kind of distracting. So you should be towards that big goal. Merit badges are important. They're great ways to experience great things, and those requirements can really motivate young people to think and maybe even consider careers that they maybe never thought about. It's big. It's a big thing. So that is one thing. But doing those requirements, superseding the actual requirements to go to something or do something big, a big adventure, that is one of those things that so many units miss out. They're so distracted by all of the treasure hunting of getting those requirements done. Don't be distracted. Be focused on your goal. Okay, that's the thing. Mentor your scouts so that they know this is the goal. This is where you want to go. This is how you do it. This is how you get there. That is one of the big things. And that's true for Cub Scouts too. They have a goal to achieve their rank, and that's the wonderful thing. That's their goal, okay? And in that, they learn so much more. They get to that level, but they need to be focused on achieving that. And you can set things, for instance, Cub Scouts, not just the requirements. The goal, the big thing might be the crossover ceremony. They're going to do a big bridge, and it's going to be sunset, and all the different things going on. It motivates scouts more than just doing XYZ on their requirement list. Having those big adventures, those big things ahead of them so they can envision that. That's far more important. Far more important. Scout leaders need to also praise small wins that might come along their way. and make sure that the youth know about those things. Make sure that they are recognized along that path of leadership. Leadership can be very lonely. It can be very isolating. It can be very trying. So we need to make sure that it's recognized when it's done right. When they learn something and they do something in leadership, that's a critical thing. And we need to recognize that as adult leaders. Even if it's just pointing it out to the other adult leaders, and then they pat them on the back saying, hey, you did a good job, or, she ran that meeting beautifully. It was well managed. She did great. That's something that the leadership needs to do. That's a critical thing throughout scouting. It is so important to praise things as they go on. Now, one of the things I want you to think about, kind of like homework, if a scout that you know of in your unit never got another badge, okay, 10 years after he leaves scouting, would they still remember their experience in scouting? That's a good question. Hopefully they had a long-range goal, okay? And that goal can be advancement to a certain degree, but it should be not just for advancement's sake. It should be that their goal was to do a high adventure at sea base, or go to different camps throughout America. That might have been one of their big goals, and did they achieve it? That they would remember. All those little requirements that they ticked off, they're not going to remember that. Not 10 years after scouting. Think about it. Think about it. And you could probably identify somebody in your unit that if they never got another patch, they'd be happy. Okay? And that's fine. Scouting is working for them because they're still involved, they're still active, and they still want to do that big adventure. That's the beautiful thing about it. Advancement comes along on its own way. It has a way of doing that. So that's the important thing to consider when you're looking at that. If you get a chance, put some comments down on the video. I'd love to hear from you. I do read them all. I don't answer them all right away, but eventually I do see them. So please let me know. There's a lot of stuff when you're talking about advancement and doing those things. We do so much. Gosh, it's so many different facets of scouting. It weaves in and out, so just keep in mind, don't think of it as that small, focused, narrow view. Think of the big picture. It's so much easier. Don't get overwhelmed. Don't get burned out. Don't commit to do more than you can. Okay? Always keep that in mind. You do so much. Please keep it up. The Scouts need you. We're going through this renaissance of scouting, and we need good leaders like you to continue what you're doing, to continue to think about different avenues, different points of view. That's the key. Think about that. So, and keep doing what you're doing. I'm proud of you. Please keep that up if you have a chance. I do have something, since we've been talking about it for a while now. We're talking about advancement. The advancement guide is out there. So definitely check out the video on advancement. Until next time, I'll see you on the trail.